Hi guys, my name's Tom,
My name's Audrey.
and today we're gonna make
Sorbet!
So yeah, today we're making sorbet. We're pitting two different techniques against each other. One of them's gonna be like a professional method where we cook down the ingredients, and the other method will be a quick method, which will be in a food processor. So I just became familiar with this quick method as I was researching sorbet. So this is kind of new to me. We'll see how it goes. Do you know what a sorbet is, Audrey?
No.
Sorbet is a fruit puree that is combined with sugar water or simple syrup and then frozen. So we're going to start off with the chocolate ginger first. That we're going to use the professional method for that one. So this episode is dedicated to my old friend Larry Kearns. He is the one who got me interested in sorbet. Rest in peace, Larry. We miss you. So we're going to start off with making a simple syrup. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get 3 cups of water and 3 cups of sugar. It's equal parts sugar and water. Yeah, can you fill this up 3 times flat and put it in here? If you need help, use a spoon, okay? Try not to get it all over the place, okay?
I need help.
Okay. Agree. Okay. Hold on. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm peeling this ginger with a spoon. I feel like that's the most efficient way to do it. Okay, that looks good. So we got 3 cups of water, and we now have 3 cups of sugar. One of the cool things about making sorbet with a professional method is you can experiment with a lot of different flavor combinations. Okay. I've made all kinds of different interesting combinations. I've made like a watermelon jalapeno, cucumber mint. I've done a chocolate chipotle, raspberry, thyme. One of my favorite books is the Flavor Bible. You should check that out. I'll put a link in the description. But it has like a lot of different flavor combinations that go really well together. Okay. So I'm gonna grate this ginger so that the flavor disperses more evenly. I really like the flavor of ginger. Ginger beer. Ginger beer is one of my favorites. You like the smell of ginger? I think it smells really good. Careful not to grate your fingers. That does not feel good. Yeah, I've made ginger beer before. It's pretty cool. Just using ginger and yeast, water, sugar. You can make ginger beer with like different CO2 canisters if you don't want any alcohol in there. So this is about a 1/4 cup of ginger, grated. I'm adding that to my simple syrup. And we're gonna let this simmer for about 10 minutes. So yeah, you wanna stir it up so the sugar doesn't settle at the bottom. So yeah, like oftentimes when I make a simple syrup, like say I was gonna add jalapenos to it, I would chop the jalapenos up and then I would cook it with the simple syrup, and that'll help disperse that flavor into the simple syrup. And liquids really help extract like flavors and spices and aromatics. The water will extract that flavor, and then when you mix it with your other main ingredients, that flavor will be like evenly dispersed.
Now we're gonna put in the chocolate chips.
Yep, can you fill that up all the way?
Look, chocolate chips.
Yep.
My mistake.
How about you put all those in here? So there's pros and cons to each method of doing sorbets. The professional method, the pros are you have more interesting flavor combinations. The texture is more predictable. The cons are you need dedicated hardware to do it, like an ice cream maker, or also it's very time consuming. Yeah, let's put a little bit more in there. You can never have too much chocolate, right? So we got 60% chocolate chips here. I'm gonna put 1 1/3 cups of cocoa powder in here. When measuring ingredients, you want to make sure they're nice and level. If you're a really big fan of chocolate, like you like chocolate ice cream, this is way better than chocolate ice cream. Just so you know. It's a lot richer and like an extreme chocolate flavor. Okay, so our simple syrup has come up to a boil. Usually at this point I would turn it off. We're trying to extract some of that ginger flavor. And I can actually smell the ginger right now, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it down to low. With the chocolate sorbet method, we're gonna add it to the simple syrup to the point where the chocolate just melts. So I added a pinch of salt to this. It's cocoa powder and a pinch of salt. 1 1/3 cups. I got 1 cup of chocolate chips here. Audrey, let's go ahead and mix this together, okay?
Okay.
So I'm adding the chocolate chips. I'm adding the cocoa powder with the salt, and we're just gonna stir it until the chocolate chips have melted and everything's combined. So I turned off the heat on this just because it's hot enough to melt everything. Okay, we're gonna actually move over here, okay? So yeah, this is really, really hot, so you wanna be very, very careful. We're just stirring it until everything's all mixed together evenly.
I'm staying away from it.
So I'm gonna stick blend this just to help it become as consistent as possible. Normally when I make a sorbet, this is what I'll do. I'll pour the simple syrup into the fruit and then I'll stick blend it, and like if I throw like basil or something in there, like it'll chop it all up and then we'll refrigerate it.
Wow.
Okay, and then we're gonna do this egg method. So the egg method is if you drop the egg in there, it should float up, and what it is the concentration of sugar will help the egg become more buoyant. And so with sugar and sorbet, sugar will help get you the right texture and consistency that you want. Too little sugar and you'll get like kind of ice. Too much sugar and it'll be just kind of like sludge. But the perfect amount of sugar, it'll be perfectly scoopable after freezing it, and it won't get too hard when it gets frozen. So we're gonna dump this egg in there and see if we have enough sugar. Be careful when you dump it in there. So what you want is about a quarter size of egg poking up above there, and that means you have the proper amount of sugar.
Is it hot?
You want to taste it?
Oh.
It's chocolate.
Chocolate?
Yeah, it's not hot.
It's not?
No.
Mm.
So what we're going to do right now is we're going to refrigerate this liquid. We need to make sure it's cool before we add it to the ice cream maker.
And then start making the second.
Always pour away from yourself and others. As it sits there, that ginger is going to kind of extract its flavor a little bit more. One thing when you're doing a chocolate sorbet, if you're going to add another flavor to it, it needs to be a very strong flavor because it's such a rich chocolate flavor. You need something that competes with it. We're doing ginger this time. I've done like a chipotle before. That's really powerful and it kind of cuts through that chocolate. Okay, so our chocolate ginger sorbet base has cooled down. It's nice and cold. So I would suggest straining any sorbet that you're doing the churning method for. It just helps either like get seeds out or, in this case, stringy parts of ginger. And it'll give you like a smoother consistency. Let's taste it.
So what does it taste like?
So yeah, the ginger flavor really comes through. It's like just about right. So I have a KitchenAid ice cream mixer attachment for my KitchenAid mixer. It uses, this is like a bowl full of liquid that you freeze, and then you can churn your ice cream in there. If you don't have this, you can use like an ice cream maker that you can like buy separately, just specifically designed for making ice cream or sorbets. I'm actually making a cherry sorbet at work in the next couple days, and so I have a Cuisinart ice cream maker, which I'll link to down below. You want to turn it on, Audrey?
How?
Yep, right there. Here, you want to help me?
Yeah.
Hey, don't put your finger in there. So don't ever put your finger into the area where it's turning, so it might snap your finger right off.
Yeah.
So we're gonna let this churn for maybe half an hour until it starts getting nice and thick. So yeah, you just wanna make sure your bowl is like super cold. Every ice cream maker I've ever used, you put the bowl in the freezer for 24 hours before doing this. And then if you only have one bowl, you can only make one batch at a time, but you can buy these bowls separately. Like I think this bowl is like 80 or 90 bucks if you buy it separately. Whereas the ice cream maker that I bought, the Cuisinart, was $99 on Amazon. And I believe the replacement bowls for that are $60. So I have it on speed number 2. I wouldn't go much higher than that. 1 or 2 is fine. But we're basically churning that air into the sorbet. So yeah, we'll just let this keep on going, and we'll see you in a bit. Okay, so we're gonna do the quick sorbet method now. We're gonna use strawberry, basil, honey, and lemon juice. It's fast and easy.
Yeah.
You can add as much sugar as you'd like. So if you're looking for like a lower sugar option, this could work out very well for you. The equipment that you need can either be a food processor or a blender. You don't need like a dedicated ice cream machine for it. Some of the cons to this method are inconsistent texture. You can't make as many complicated flavor combinations. The flavor doesn't have time to marry. You're not using like a hot method to extract any flavors. One thing that's cool about sorbet is it's dairy free. So with ice cream, you're obviously using cream or milk or something like that. But sorbet is completely dairy free. You're using fruit, either like a sugar water, simple syrup, or like in this case, we're gonna use honey and then basil. So I mean, you have like 4 ingredients here, literally. So when you're using frozen fruit, you can either have it like frozen like a brick. You're gonna need a very like heavy duty food processor, or if you're using a blender, you can let your fruit thaw out a little bit before you start, and then that way it'll be easier on your equipment. So let's go ahead and put this in here. Audrey, you wanna put it in there?
Yeah.
Okay, you go ahead and put that in there. So I'm gonna kind of rough chop this basil and take the stems off of it. You don't have to chop it up too fine because the food processor will take care of most of that. But we have 2 pounds of strawberries here. I mean, you wanna add, depends on how big your food processor, your blender is, depends on how much ingredients you add. With this quick method, we're not really weighing, we're not really doing exact amounts. We're just kind of, I'm doing 2 pounds just so you know it's 2 pounds, but you could put in whatever you want, really.
Good.
I'm just eyeballing this. I think this is gonna be good right here.
They're eyeballing that?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
It means I'm just kind of looking at it and thinking I'm gonna need about that much. Will you stop licking your hands, Audrey? It's not very sanitary. Nobody wants your germs all over their food, okay?
Is this enough?
Go ahead and put all of that in there. You don't have to break it apart. We can just dump it in there like this. These strawberries are pretty solid right now. In order not to really wear out my equipment, I'm gonna start on a slow speed. So I'm gonna add this lemon juice right now. The lemon juice you are not really gonna taste, but it's really gonna help that sorbet pop. We're gonna add the basil. You want to squirt some honey in here?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can add as much sugar as you want. And the chocolate sorbet, we added simple syrup. Let's go ahead and add some more. You tell me when to stop, okay? Okay, so here we go. We're gonna blend it all up. Okay, Audrey, you want to taste it?
Yeah, really bad.
I think that could use more sugar. What do you think?
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So we kind of pureed it up more than probably should have. What we're going to do is we're going to freeze it now. See how that turns out.
I'll start.
Okay, so we're going to let this hang out in the freezer for a bit. Probably like 2 or 3 hours, and then see how it turns out. But put it in an airtight container. I'm going to make a cherry pineapple sorbet. Right here I got 4 cups of sugar, 4 cups of water, and then about 6 cups of cherries mixed with pineapple. 4 cups of simple syrup here, adding it to the cherry pineapple. Okay, so I'm going to blend this up. So I'm going to do what's called the egg test. Basically, I'm dunking this egg in here and we're checking for the buoyancy of the amount of sugar in here. The more sugar, the more buoyant it'll be, and you'll get about a quarter-size piece of egg poking out of the top. So I just add some more simple syrup. I'm stirring it up. And we got the egg poking up. It's about a nickel. I'm gonna add a little bit more. And what this does is it gets you the perfect consistency once you freeze it. So you don't want the sorbet to be either too hard or too soft after freezing. But yeah, that looks like it's about a quarter. So we are good to go. I'm gonna chill it. So our sorbet liquid is cold enough now. I'm gonna strain it out. It's been in the freezer for about 2 hours. We're just getting any fibrous material out, so it makes a smoother, more consistent sorbet. Ice cream machine. This is a Cuisinart. I'll put a link to it down in the description. Basically, it operates with a frozen bowl. You got the paddle. The bowl's been in the freezer for like 3 days. Most of the time it needs to be in there for like 24 hours. Yeah, so here we go. Moment of truth. First time we've been using this, so I have about 1.5 quarts of liquid here. We're gonna let this freeze for about 25 minutes or so. Yeah, we'll let that guy go for 25 minutes. So it's only been like 4 minutes and you can already see it starting to thicken up. Here's that 20 minutes. Alright, so that was about 25 minutes. That looks pretty good. Let's see what it looks like here. It's pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and put in these containers and put in the freezer, and it should thicken up a little bit more. Okay, so that yielded about 2 quarts of sorbet. We'll have to sit in the freezer for a couple hours. All right, so after a couple days of these sorbets sitting in the freezer, they're pretty much ready to go. They've all been in the freezer for over 24 hours. Here's the strawberry basil. Here's the chocolate ginger. And then here is this cherry pineapple. And so they all seem pretty scoopable. The hardest one to scoop is the strawberry basil one, the one that was used with the quick method. So, but as you can see, it is scoopable. Looks pretty cool, huh? You all ready?
Yeah.
So when I made the chocolate sorbet, the bowl didn't quite get cold enough or something, and it didn't quite freeze up the way it should have. But what I did was I churned it as long as I could. It was still kind of liquidy, and so I just ended up putting it in the freezer, and it actually turned out pretty good. I really like the chocolate ginger one. That's my favorite for sure.
Try the one you made at work.
The pink one?
Yeah.
It's really good too. Very good. Audrey, what's your favorite one?
The cherry pineapple. I love you. I love you. Please give us a like and subscribe.